Hey, this is Paris. I'm back with another Destiny 2 preview video. This time, I'm just going to give you my overall impressions of the European Dead Zone. I have to say right off the top, I want to thank Activision. Activision graciously paid for all my accommodations and flew me out to Bellevue, I can't even say it right, Bellevue, Washington, so I could spend a couple days with Bungie so I could check out Destiny 2. So, like I said, I'm just going to have some gameplay going here in the background so you guys can watch European Dead Zone. And I'm just going to talk about my impressions of Destiny 2. I like to do it unscripted because I feel like that just comes genuinely from the heart. So any mistakes or flubs or anything like that, I do apologize in advance, but that's just my style because that's how I like to get down, so to speak. So again, let's get into this. The environment, the European Dead Zone itself, it's the biggest space that Bungie has ever made for a Destiny game, maybe period. I don't think there's even been anything this big in Halo, and it's beautiful. It's truly this varied environment of, you have these cabal structures, you have these old church structures, you have these underground tunnels, you have the forests. It's huge. I mean, when you compare it to the Cosmodrome, I would say it's probably double the size. If I could give you guys a good, like if you took the Rise of Iron Cosmodrome along with the original Cosmodrome and put them together, I still would say it's probably only 75% as big as what we're getting right now with the European Dead Zone. I really love this environment. There's going to be a lot of secrets still to find within the environment, so that's going to be just such a great thing. And then we talk about the enemies that I've seen so far in the European Dead Zone. The Fallen is very prevalent in the European Dead Zone, and the Cabal has their presence here as well. And I like some of the varied fights. I mean, the Fallen, I mean, we know them tried and true. You got your Dregs, you got your Vandals, you got your Captains, but these Fallen are this is a different house, so their fighting style is slightly different from what we typically remember from the original Destiny, and even from the Fallen that we saw with the Siva. I love how the Vandals will get on all fours and just come at you like spiders. I've noticed Dregs actually taking some cover, and you know, the Captains, as usual, are always very relentless. And then when we get to the Cabal, a lot of you guys already know this from the beta because we've had a chance to play against the Cabal in there. These aren't the Cabal that we remember from Destiny 1. These are Red Legion Cabal, you know, the Legionnaires with those shields that are actually expandable now, and they have that weak point right in the middle. And then you have your other higher tier Cabal enemies that you're gonna take on. I'm butchering the name right now, but the ones that just charge at you with like the double axes, things of that nature. I love some of the encounters I've had with them as well. And then, you know, again, going back to the Fallen, because I forgot about these, the servitors. I mean, I like that the servitors, especially, and you'll see this in the public events, they have new mechanics that they'll use against you now, where you'll have like that giant servitor, and then he'll have his supporting servitors, which will put a shield on him. That giant servitor will transport you around the map, things of that nature. Just really cool mechanic that gives some variety to what we've typically been doing from Destiny 1. And again, just speaking on public events, I really love some of the varied public events. Like there's one with the Cabal where they bring in the giant ship, and it's like this I don't know what you want to call it, like a mining ship, and it drops this giant shield down, and if you stay inside the shield too long, you know, you'll start frying. There's these scions that you have to battle against, which you have to take out pretty quickly, or the shield will give you damage, or you got to go in and out of that, which was really cool. And then I love the other public event where it's I think you're protecting, what are you trying to protect, or they're doing extraction or something like that, but the Cabal ship is dropping down these laser mines on you, as well as they're doing the drop of the Cabal troops coming at you as well. It gets pretty intense, man. I mean, even in moments where we've had, you know, a full fire team and then maybe, you know, 2 or 3 randoms coming in from the public, it gets pretty hectic. Not to mention, if you can figure out the mechanic of the specific public event, you can trigger a heroic public event. And when you trigger a heroic public event, that's just when it gets nuts, man. Like, for example, the one servitor, and I think I have in video where I triggered the heroic, but we actually failed because I think it was only 2 or 3 of us doing it at the time. But with the servitor, where you got the giant servitor and the smaller servitor supporting him, if you can take out those supporting servitors in a certain amount of time, that'll trigger the public event. And then you just got fallen coming from everywhere when you do that. And I think the Cabal jump into that public event as well. And it's just absolute chaos. But the reward is you're going to get a higher tier loot, you know, if you complete that heroic event in the set amount of time, for example. So again, I like the variety of that. I like that they've stepped up like a public event happens now. I get excited about it, which, hey, let's talk about the director. I mean, that is probably one of the biggest improvements that they put into Destiny 2. And then again, specifically in the European Dead Zone, like I've shown you guys in some other videos, that director comes up. You can see all the adventures that are laid out, all the public events that are happening. They have timers on the public events. I love that you have the various landing zones now, so you don't have to just land in one spot and then hop in your Sparrow and spend 10 minutes trying to go to the other side of the map to get somewhere. That helps a lot. I love that you don't have to go to orbit anymore. That's probably one of the biggest quality of life changes that they've made in Destiny 2, so that you can simply hit L2, bring up the activity that you want to go to, even if it's on the same planet, and you just travel to that, versus having to worry about, all right, now we got to go to orbit, sit there for a couple minutes. All right, now we go back down to the planet, blah, blah, blah. And you're just basically wasting time. It just gets you to the action quicker, which I think overall has been the theme here with Destiny 2. And I think that was even one of the marketing speak. I think it was either Luke Smith or Mark Noseworthy said it. They want to get you quicker to the fun. And playing in the European Dead Zone, I can definitely say you get to the fun a lot quicker. And like I said, going back to the director, you know, you got the public events, you have the adventures, and I'll talk about adventures more in a second, but then you also have on the map, and you can't track them or know exactly where they are, but you have the lost sector markers on there, and you have the treasure map markers on there as well. So at least gives you an idea on the map where these things are located, and then you can explore on your own and potentially figure out where they are. But going back to adventures, and I had a video on this, but I want to talk about it again a little more in depth. Probably my favorite activity so far, playing in the European Dead Zone and just playing Destiny in general. These are these 10 to 15 minute stories that you can do. They're fully voice acted, and you get lore. Like I always talk about my buddy Bife, he's big into the lore. He's a fantastic YouTuber, tells all these lore stories. And I know he was a bit bummed about the Grimoire cards going away, but this is Bungie's answer to the Grimoire cards. They're telling you this story in the game now. You don't need to leave the game to understand more about the universe of Destiny, not to mention some of the scannable areas that are in the environment as well. So you scan that, you're going to get information from your ghost and kind of tell you the story of what the history of this object is and why it's there and what's going on with it, which I think is fantastic. But again, like I said, just going back to those adventures, I love that they're fully voice acted. You'll get information like Zavala might come in, the local NPC, what's his name again? I always get it wrong. Devrim K may come in and talk some stuff. Your ghost is going to give you information during that. And it's like this story that you get to go on and you get to complete real time in the world. You don't have to leave and you don't load into another screen. It's not a restricted zone, anything. It's real time in the world. You'll see other public events happening around you. You know, you'll see other Guardians and their fire teams going on their own adventure around you. I mean, like I said, the public event as an example, you could actually stop, do a public event, complete it, and then you're going to go right back into that adventure that you're going to do. And then, like I said, it's about 10 to 15 minutes per adventure. You'll finish that, and then once you finish it, that's going to then give you some loot, and then you can go on to the next adventure if you want to, or go to the next story mission, or whatever the case may be, you know, in that environment. And another enemy I forgot about that's in the European Dead Zone is the Taken. Excuse me. I saw them in a couple public events on the European Dead Zone, so I don't know if there's a backstory to them at all, but they're also present as well. So enemies I've seen so far in the European Dead Zone would be the Fallen, would be the Cabal, and the Taken. So I haven't seen any Hive just yet, or Vex, but who knows? We'll see as we get more into the game. So kind of just talking about my experience. I know this is about the European Dead Zone, but to kind of give you guys an idea of how much I've played Destiny 2 so far. So like I said, I went up to Bungie on a Monday night, got a chance to play through that initial story mission and a couple levels after that in the European Dead Zone, just to get a feel for the game. Then the next day they let us play all day, and then the third day they let us play as well. So in total of like just real gameplay time, I probably got in a good 15 hours of gameplay. So I really got a great feel for Destiny 2, how the mechanics work, how the weapons feel in it, and we'll talk about the weapons and everything later, because I mean they really want us to focus right now on the European Dead Zone and not so much all the mechanics and the UI and things like that. But again, I would say the one common theme is going to be the quality of life. The quality of life that they've put into Destiny 2 compared to what Destiny 1 is for veteran players like myself is just a breath of fresh air, because like I said before, it gets you to the fun quicker, which I think ultimately is the goal of what they're trying to do. They didn't reinvent the wheel with Destiny 2 from what I've seen so far. If you're a veteran player, you're going to be able to pick this game up right away and just jump into the fun. But I'm getting off track a little bit. Let's get back into this European Dead Zone. So Flashpoints is something else that happens in here, and I actually got that triggered more towards the end of my gameplay. It's basically where they're going to have world events going on. I think Cade is the one that actually gives you the quest for this, and you'll run around, you'll do a bunch of public events and other activities in the world, and it's all focused. Each week the planet will change, but the point of this is to try and get as many Guardians in one area as possible, completing all these various activities, and then at the end of it you're going to be rewarded, you know, which, hey, that's what Destiny is all about. It's a loot game, so you want that precious loot, so you're going to do these things so you can level up your character and become more powerful, so you can start doing nightfalls and raids and all those other good things. So Flashpoints is another thing. Another video that I had was there's an actual quest, again you get this from Cade, to set up patrols on Destiny 2, because originally when I started playing I thought that adventures was taking the place of patrols, but the traditional patrols that we saw in Destiny 1 do return. You have a quest on the European Dead Zone to unlock that. You get the beacons, the whole thing. So again, this is just another avenue for you to gain reputation and get that loot, because that's what it's all about, is getting that loot. So that brings me to the NPC character Devrim K. I never say the name right, but Devrim K. He's the NPC character for the European Dead Zone. Hawthorne, which I know a lot of people know from some of the marketing stuff, she's actually in the farm, which we're not going to talk about today. But Devrim K is the NPC for the European Dead Zone, and he's who you're going to go to. You can when you get these European Dead Zone tokens for completing various activities, you turn those tokens into him. You're going to build up reputation with him, and there's going to be European Dead Zone specific gear that you can get from him. And he's also a vendor. You can buy some low level green weapons and gear from him as well. So again, this is just another avenue for you to be able to progress your character, get better gear, better loot, etc. So I'm digging it. I'm really digging what I got to see in the European Dead Zone, because like I said, there's just so many different things to do, you know, just on this one planet. We're not even talking about IO or Titan or Nessus or any of the strikes or PvP. Just going to the European Dead Zone, I feel like there's just so many things left to discover. Because I mean, let me tell you, there's one time where we did an adventure. While we're doing the adventure, we stopped, did a public event. While we're doing the public event, high value target decided to get nosy, and he came in there. So then we're fighting him as well. So you got just complete chaos going on. Not to mention, we then finished the public event, take out the high value target, finish the adventure, and then another high value target decided to butt his nose in at the end of that adventure, and it's just chaos all over again. So you got my fire team, you got like 3 or 4 more other people, random guardians joining in, because we're doing an adventure and they're actually helping us in the adventure because we helped them in the public event. Then we both saw the high value target and we went after that. So in a nutshell, that's Destiny 2 to me right now. That's what I get from the game, that there's just always going to be something fun to do, you know, and it's great. It really is. I make no bones about it. You guys know me from Gamertag Radio, listen to the podcast and some of the YouTube videos that I've been doing now. I'm a fan of Destiny, so maybe my opinion is very biased, and I fully accept that and I embrace it. But what I got to play last week up in Washington at Bungie felt special. It felt like they're fixing the issues of the original game. And that's all you can really ask for. No, it's not reinventing the wheel. It's still Destiny, but this feels like a very polished Destiny. It feels like a Destiny that has listened to 3 years of community feedback. It's been taken to heart, and they're fixing it, and they're getting it right. I mean, that's as simple as I can possibly put it. They are getting it right. Now, before I end this, because like I said, this is unscripted. I'm just going. I just want you guys to see gameplay, and I'm just giving you my overall impressions. Are the Lost Sectors? Lost Sectors. Again, I have another video on this. Again, this is something that there's a symbol. There's various symbols around the director, around the environmental European dead zone. You can find one, and once you see the symbol, you know there's going to be a cave entrance somewhere around that area. A few times we actually struggled trying to figure out where the entrance was. But once you find the entrance, you're going to descend down. You're going to fight enemies in there, and eventually you're going to find a boss with a key. And when you take out that boss with the key, and typically you're going to clear out the rest of the enemies as well, you're going to see a chest. You're going to open that chest, and then you're going to be able to get some loot from it. And from what I understand, we have our initial, lost sectors and adventures and everything with certain amount of loot. But once we get to the end game, and again, we'll talk about all that later, in another video down the road, but that's going to unlock some more higher level loot and things like that. So again, I think the progression system that they're doing in this is exceptional. I really liked it. I know the owner was really talking about it today, so I won't get too in depth into it, but I do think it works, and I'll just leave it at that. So overall, this has been my impressions of the European Dead Zone for Destiny 2. I feel like this is definitely a step in the right direction for what Destiny 2 needs to go. As we know, the game that we're getting on September 6th will not be the game that we have 3 years from now, because it will be an ever-evolving game. But as a starting point, as this is our introduction to this new world of Destiny, I think they're getting it right. I hope you guys watching this video, you've gotten a good sense of the European Dead Zone, the environment, just the enemies that we have, just some of the different activities that we're going to be able to do. Because let me tell you, like I said, I had a blast playing this stuff up at Bungie, and it's fun. I think ultimately as gamers, that's all we want. We just want some fun. So again, this is Paris, Gamertag Radio. This has been my initial impressions of the European Dead Zone for Destiny 2. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you love what I'm doing, definitely subscribe, and don't forget to check out the podcast that I do, Gamertag Radio. And also don't forget to check out our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Gamertag Radio. So again, this is Paris, Gamertag Radio. I will see you guys in the next video.